Hello and welcome to the final Premier Football podcast of 2019, the debut year for the show. I'm back, joined again by Joseph Doherty. Great to have you back, Joe. You were off skiing, were you?
I was off skiing, Rafe. Yeah, amongst other things.
Amongst other things. How was it? How did it go for you?
It was great.
Are you well rested?
Very well rested. Had a lovely Christmas, as you know, because we spent a decent amount of time together celebrating. Yeah, all good.
Have you been enjoying football?
Yeah, it's been all right.
As an Arsenal fan, it's obviously...
It was nice to see something new yesterday.
Cool.
Yeah, it was nice to see. We can talk about that a bit later, but yeah, it was nice to see something new and a step in the right direction.
All right, cool. Well, I think there is only one place to start. Again, this is becoming a recurring theme of our podcasts. Liverpool find themselves 13 points clear at the top of the Premier League table with a game in hand over second place Leicester. Man City play this evening. What day of the week is today? Friday.
Today's Friday, yeah.
This evening, Friday, against Wolves, who have the chance to go back fifth. City can take back second place outright. Liverpool, of course, won the FIFA Club World Cup over in Qatar last week. We'll start there. The first major piece of silverware for the trophy for the season. Joe, how highly do people around the world rate the Club World Cup?
I would say in Europe, it'll be pretty low. In other parts of the world, South America, Central America, much higher. That's a guess. I'm not 100% sure, but I'd say that the likes of Monterrey and Flamengo were probably gutted not to have got further.
Well, I mean, it's their shot, isn't it? It's like a big European scalp.
Exactly, to show the world that the football over there is good and that
football doesn't revolve around Europe.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting because Liverpool are the first British team to ever hold the Champions League, the Club World Cup and the Super Cup together, which I think probably shows you how seriously a lot of British sides have taken it in the past. I know United won it the last time they won the Champions League. Chelsea didn't win it. Liverpool hadn't won it before, even though they'd won 5 cups. Actually, on 2 occasions, they didn't even bother entering a team. And they let the runners up. German teams go instead and compete in their place. So how heavily do you think their decision to take it so seriously was influenced by where it was held? Did they have an obligation to send all of the big superstars over to Qatar for this competition?
They're not owned by anyone in that part of the world. Whether there are shareholders involved in the club, I don't know. But I would say actually no. From a contractual point of view, they're not. It's not
from a contractual point of view, but I mean we're overseas fans as well, and when you have an opportunity to get out to another part of the world, I know people do it on pre-season tours, they go around the world, but those aren't really competitive games. When you've got a chance to go and compete for what's considered to be a major piece of silverware in another continent with all the cameras on you, I mean your marketing team and your PR team, I don't think would let you get away with not sending the big names, would they?
Again, I'm not 100% sure. Like it depends if there's money thrown their way. I would say
But in terms of brand, where like shirt sales alone.
Well, there's a market there, yeah.
There's a massive market. The amount of football moving over to the Middle East from Europe. I think this is the 3rd year in a row the Italian Super Cup has been held. Last week, over in the Middle East as well. I think that was Qatar as well. Actually, Lazio beat Juventus 3-1.
Qatar is not a very big country. It doesn't have a huge population. It's a tiny little blob on the Saudi Arabian peninsula where they have shit tons of oil, and they're not a country that gets on fabulously well with the rest of the countries in the Middle East outside of Saudi Arabia, really.
Yeah.
If they're trying to appeal to a wider Arab market, then maybe, but
But they've got the World Cup as well.
They do have the World Cup coming up. Again, that's why I'm like I said about the money. If there are brown paper envelopes going around in the direction of the Liverpool executives and management team and whatnot.
I don't think the management team are going to be taking brown envelopes. I think they've probably got enough money. But I'd say it's more that the club...
They all have enough money.
Yeah, the club have a chance to expose their brand in another continent and around the world, and
in a continent where there is loads of money going around.
Yeah,
like if it was held in Mexico, would they be jumping up to go and
Probably
can
not.
compete.
Probably not.
But there are hundreds of million people living in Mexico, football mad. It's an established football market.
Yeah.
I strongly dislike this new. We'll definitely talk about the Qatar World Cup and more over the next, but I'd be strongly against the move to
the globalization of football.
Yeah. There are plenty of.
But I mean, is that fair for us to say though, as overseas Premier League fans?
Yeah, it's fair for us to say.
Fair enough. Right, we will come back to the Premier League. The first result of the weekend, Spurs bounced back with a win against Brighton. They did go a goal down in this game. And I'd say, actually, I know you were excited because you sent me a message to inform me that Spurs had gone behind. They clawed it back with goals from Dele Alli and Harry Kane. Bounced back from the loss against Chelsea last week. And they are keeping that pressure up on Chelsea now.
I don't think it was a particularly complete performance from Tottenham. And I think that the Brighton keeper should have kept out Harry Kane's first, his goal could have easily been avoided. It was a left-footed shot, hit reasonably well, but it was straight at the keeper, and he just palmed it back straight at him, and he could just fire it into a half-empty net.
You're talking about goalkeepers for a minute, and goalkeepers involved in Spurs games. I know there was a week of fixtures that we missed.
Yeah.
We got to rewind to the Spurs-Chelsea game a couple of weeks ago, and we got to talk about what Gazaniga was doing. I assume you saw.
Yeah, I did.
The flying kick. On Marcus Alonso.
Yeah.
What was your initial reaction when you saw that, Joe?
I thought it should have been a straight red card.
It was given as a free kick though to Gazaniga.
Yeah.
Initially.
Outrageous.
How did Anthony Taylor get that one wrong?
To be fair to I think Gazaniga hit the deck as well. He went down in a heap, and the keeper usually gets the benefit of the doubt.
Normally,
I'm just glad that VAR is in place and it went, because that should have been a red card. He came and it was a Nigel de Jong.
But I think it was one of those things that was so strange that it took everyone by surprise. I don't think anybody expected him to try to kick that ball at head height when he's permitted to use his hands.
Yeah.
What was he thinking?
Rush of blood to the head. Goalkeepers are notoriously mad, aren't they?
They are.
You have to be screws to put your hands up to go and
to have someone kick balls at you all day.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just a rush of blood to the head, man. It's absolutely bizarre.
Yeah. Right. We'll come back to Spurs Brighton anyway.
But yeah, I thought that Spurs' first goal was really avoidable from a Brighton point of view. Their goal, it was Matt Ryan, their goalkeeper, the Australian lad. Should be doing a lot better with that. I'm not saying catch it, but punch it out the other way.
Anything.
Don't punch it right back to Harry Kane. Don't palm it right back to Harry Kane on his.
He's not going to miss.
No, he's not. It was a decent effort the first time, and it was a very routine finish. But credit to Spurs, they stuck at it, and Dele Alli scored a very good winner. I can't begrudge them the win overall. It was a really good goal, very well taken.
I'm quite interested to see how Spurs get on in the January transfer window, because I haven't heard massive links of players coming in and coming out. Maybe there's talk of Jack Grealish going to Spurs, but probably not till the end of the season.
Yeah.
Christian Eriksen might well be on the way out in January if they can take anything, if they can cash in.
Because his contract is up at the end of the season.
6 months left.
Yeah.
So if they can take anything for him, I mean, he could well sign a deal to go on a free at the end of the season. So if they can take anything for him, you'd imagine they will.
But the thing is, no European club is going to pay money for him when they can get him for free.
Well, Manchester United are apparently interested.
They're a Premier League, so no continental European club is going to pay money for him. They can sign a pre-contact agreement with him in January.
Yeah. And Juventus will be all over that situation.
Yeah, they will, absolutely. the one thing about Juventus is that they're actively looking to move on some of their midfielders.
Yeah,
they're way over.
They are
crowded in that.
They can't even fit Emre Can into their Champions League squad.
No,
they're trying to sell off Pablo Dybala just because they have too many players.
Yeah, and Rabiot, I think, is linked with a move away. He just moved there over the summer. Yeah, so
I think he's actually linked with a move to Arsenal.
He is, and I'd be very happy. I'm a big fan of
replace the outgoing Granit Xhaka, who seems to be on his way to Germany to Mönchengladbach. Is it?
No, it's Hertha Berlin.
Hertha Berlin, that's where he's going. Yeah.
Listen, if Xhaka. If we can get £40 million for Xhaka, I'd take it. If we're not going to make what we make back, then there's no need.
I've heard the 25 million.
We signed him for 35, and he's tied down to a long-term contract. He's captain of Switzerland. He's 27. He plays week in, week out for Ireland, for Arsenal, and we're in 2020 pretty much. There's no need to let him go for less than he's actually worth.
No, but if there's an issue in the dressing room, I mean, that dressing room is meant to be quite divided as it is.
But well, I don't, man, I don't know. Like the way that he acted I would prefer him not to be at the club. I think the way that he acted in the game against Crystal Palace, despite the provocation from the fans, like, is completely out of order, and you can't do that. But I don't want us to be selling him, like it or not. Right now, he's an important player for Arsenal. He is. Arsenal would be worse without Granit Xhaka.
They would
at the moment.
Would Rabiot be an upgrade?
Yeah, Rabiot's a much better player.
So if the Xhaka deal was paved the way for the Rabiot deal, even if they let him go for 25, but then put that money into the Rabiot deal.
Well, that's the sort of thing I could, or Ndidi, if Ndidi was to come there.
I think there'd be lots of people looking to grab Ndidi.
Yeah, if we could get Ndidi and Rabiot and get rid of Xhaka, I'd be well.
I'm sure you would, yeah. Keep dreaming though. Look, we'll talk about Arsenal. A last minute equaliser against Bournemouth.
No, it was like the 60th minute.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was the late one, sorry.
No, it was a bit earlier.
I only saw the highlights of that game. Yeah, big celebrations from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. What was there an improvement in performance?
Big time, yeah. It was the first time in a good while that we'd had over 60% possession, and we had over 20 shots, and we didn't concede that many shots. So compared to how it was under Emery in Lundberg, where it was letting other teams dominate and conceding about 30 shots and having about 10.
They faced the most in the league this year.
Yeah, it was a complete reversal of that. Arsenal were playing a 4-3-3. Torreira was actually playing in the deep line playmaker role.
Yeah.
And Xhaka and Ozil were playing in the Silva and De Bruyne positions.
Steady on.
Xhaka had a fantastic game.
Yeah,
I have to say he was brilliant. His passing was on point. He was breaking the lines a lot. His tackling was good. He worked back. He was playing in an inside left channel, and he allowed for our left back Bukayo Saka to get forward, and for Aubameyang not to have to track.
What I noticed just from even watching the highlights was Arsenal were still playing out from the back, but the central midfielders were busting a gut to get back and show for the ball, and they were turning on the ball quickly and playing through the lines. They weren't like under Emery. There seemed to be this thing where they play in triangles and squares and rectangles around the back, and they couldn't get out. They played that U that Pep Guardiola hates: full back to centre back to centre back to full back to, and they're just playing across the back line, waiting to break them down because the options weren't there in the middle. And the midfielders were kind of sitting, waiting in the middle of the park for the ball to come to them, rather than running and say, "Give me that ball." Turn, play, and there did seem to be an urgency to kind of get the ball from back to front. Relatively quickly.
Absolutely, and if anyone has seen the training videos that Arsenal put out from Mikel Arteta's first week in charge, all of the work they were doing was on that. Was the midfielders in bibs coming and showing for the ball, and I think it's called a rondo, where you have this circle of players trying to two in the middle trying to get off the others, and then other exercises where you come and show for the ball, and then it's all about your movement and your body shape and coming for the ball, and then how your body can create an easy passing, how your angle, the angle of your body creates an easy passing.
So it's something that you see Liverpool do especially well that never really gets talked about. The way they pass the ball to each other, the pass often tells the receiver which way to turn on it. The guys will purposely target a left foot or a right foot to give the receiver that direction to turn, so they don't need to check their shoulder. They don't need to know necessarily what's behind them. You know, as Mo Salah, if Trent Alexander-Arnold gives you the ball on your left foot, you should be turning left. Or as if he plays it back inside onto your right foot, your body's already going that way. They're very clever at kind of putting the ball just slightly one side of the player to the other, which allows you to turn then into the space and play very quickly. Yeah. Very, very rarely do you see Liverpool players get tackled and dispossessed. You might see balls cut out, passes cut out, but you don't see players getting tackled a whole lot. Whereas I think Arsenal got tackled a whole lot. There was lots of videos of them losing the ball and getting counter-attacked against, because once getting tackled is a brilliant way to concede a goal. That's with the transition game that goes on at the minute.
Absolutely, countering the counter-attack, almost like what Klopp did when he originally came in. But you make a good point about Klopp being the manager who's got Liverpool doing that, and it's such a simple part of football, and it's something that Pep does with City as well. Of course. So it's obviously natural. If the rumours are to be true about Arteta, and he was the one who was taking the sessions, then it's only natural that the sessions they're doing at City are going to be repeated.
Very similar. Yeah, of course.
So for that sort of it's just so simple. But the fact that the coaches at other teams overlook this sort of stuff and put unnecessary pressure on themselves and on their players because maybe they're afraid of being a bit too expansive.
Yeah.
But it's for the like if you really analyze it and think about it, it's for the sake of not being tackled, not losing the ball in a key area, and not having players out of position, and then
because how many times did you see Arsenal players get tackled in their own half?
So
in the early half of the season,
so many, and last season as well.
Yeah.
But how many times do you see Liverpool players get tackled in their own half? It never happens.
No.
Never happens.
No. For the first thing that they'll do is get the ball out of the danger zone, and whether it's a big diagonal from Virgil van Dijk or one over the top, or it's a switch the play from left to right, and then they get the ball away from the chasing pack as quickly as they can. Don't lose the ball. Yeah, get it into space, turn, get your head up, now play forwards.
They didn't even concede a single big chance against Leicester. Leicester.
I suppose we'll skip ahead and talk about that game for a minute. They were entirely dominant for the whole game.
Yeah.
The second place in the league in their home patch. Leicester had given up, I think it was 5 goals at home.
Yeah, it was 5. Yeah.
Was that all season or in 2019?
All season.
All season, yeah. Before yesterday, they had the best home defensive record in the league, and Liverpool just breezed through them
like a knife through butter.
Especially late on in games, they hadn't. I don't think they had conceded a goal in the last half hour of their home games or something. They were notorious for not fading late in games, and I know Liverpool have a reputation for scoring more goals late on in games, but I mean Leicester didn't get a sniff.
Not at all. What was the score at halftime? Was it 1-0?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was. I don't think that anyone was thinking that Leicester were going to get back into the game.
No.
I thought it was going to be 1-0 to Liverpool. I thought it was going to be kind of a, we'll see this game out kind of thing. We have lots of fixtures. We've had lots of fixtures. Yeah. We have lots more coming up. But they went for it.
Even though Liverpool have been playing, I wouldn't have been surprised if they did, lose one on the break, and then they did the classic Liverpool score in the 93rd minute, and everyone loses their shit. But no, that's probably the most complete performance that we've seen from Liverpool all season.
I'd say from any side.
I've been saying this for weeks and weeks. Liverpool seem to get better every single week. There was a long time where they really weren't playing well. I think that narrative is still going around that Liverpool aren't playing good football.
Yeah.
If you watch them in the last month, they've hit their stride.
It was kind of for the first 10, 12 games. It was a bit scratchy getting over the line, and now it's like they're the last team that you want to be playing against.
It's mad because Fabinho was being hailed as the best player in the Premier League before his injury. Everyone was talking about how he was absolutely instrumental to what Liverpool were doing, and no one goes past him, his range of passing. Jordan Henderson has gone in there, and I think he's been Liverpool's best player over the last couple of weeks. Look, Trent has been absolutely phenomenal all season, but in terms of what Henderson does there, how do you think that Trent is allowed to play as a right winger, essentially? And Andy Robertson can play as a left winger on the other side. These guys, they're fullbacks that don't need to worry about defending.
It's because of how hard the midfield works.
But how organised the whole team is.
Yeah, it is. And that's what my point was going to be, is that it's not necessarily... I think the only... Maybe a Mane being taken out would have a detrimental effect. But
they've rotated them out recently. They brought in Origi and Shaqiri. And it doesn't seem to matter who's playing on top.
I think the only one might be taking out Van Dijk. That could be the big one. But at the end of the day, what's really keeping Liverpool going is the tactics and the way that Klopp has drilled the team for the past 3-4 years. And how responsive everyone is to... Everyone's happy to do whatever role they're asked to do.
Yeah.
Like Henderson was asked to go and play as more of a box-to-box midfielder, and now he's coming and playing as the pivot again.
He played as a holding midfielder, as a centre-back,
he did,
in the World Club Cup.
Yeah.
And obviously, they don't look the same without Virgil van Dijk at the back. He is obviously class and he's quality. And the other player that I think that they can't lose is Roberto Firmino, just because he's so instrumental in everything that happens. They don't quite look the same without Firmino, just the link-up play and the way he makes things tick. But players in wide areas, obviously Trent as well. Look, man, they've got a lot of quality players. They're drilled really, really well as a team. But when you take out, everyone said Fabinho was the main guy at the start of this year. He goes out, Henderson comes in, and he's just been fantastic. I was thinking about it earlier. Like, he was nearly shipped on and sold by Brendan Rodgers because he wanted to bring in, there was someone really, really average that he wanted to bring in, Clint Dempsey.
No, really?
Yeah, he wanted to bring in Clint Dempsey. and he wanted to let Henderson go.
For all the American viewers, that's not the view of the Premier Football podcast. Jokes aside, that's
in his day, he was a very good footballer.
Yeah, no, he was, but there are two different types of players.
They are. If you look at what Henderson's kind of gone on to achieve over the last couple of years, and every time a central midfielder gets signed for the club, or they were linked to, oh yeah, he'll take Henderson's place. You know, Henderson is the one that's kind of a step below in quality.
Yeah.
But man, he seems to complete more passes than everyone else in a game. His range of long passing, short passing, he's showing for the ball, he's making tackles. I think it's just because he doesn't look like a flashy footballer.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about
that.
And I think that a lot of the good work that he does, you don't notice when you're watching him on TV.
Man, when you watch Jordan Henderson, I mean, any aspiring central midfield players out there, just watch what he does and his communication levels. And yeah, man, he's...
That's the thing. They prefer to watch like a Paul Pogba or something
course,
like that. But that's the wrong sort of central midfielder to want to watch.
Man,
because that's all natural talent as opposed
truthfully, I am so proud of Jordan Henderson as Liverpool captain. It's like, you know what I mean? He took so much stick for so long, and it was always going to be impossible for anybody to come in and take over from Steven Gerrard. Any non-Scouser to come in and captain Liverpool after someone like that being the club for so long.
I think that was kind of the perfect appointment because it was a quiet appointment.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was someone who's a natural leader who works very, very hard, leads by example. And it's not like giving it to the best player.
Yeah.
Like Luis Suarez or whoever, that type.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously Van Dijk is a huge leader in that team as well. But you see the way that Jordan Henderson barks at people for the whole game. He really, it is a throwback to when we started watching football. I don't think that there are, in any other club, would a captain get away with screaming at their players like that. Players don't take it anymore. The players don't like being shouted at and screamed at on football pitches anymore. Ego seems to take over all the time and people do what they want. I don't see... Liverpool were 4-0 up yesterday and he was losing his marbles at Trent Alexander-Arnold at one stage because he lost the ball when there was an easy pass on.
And too right as well. And that people are too precious to be shouted at when they're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
That's just completely the wrong attitude. You have to be... during that playing time... And when you're talking about the tactics and the setup afterwards and beforehand as well, you have to be able to take that sort of... Yeah. That's part and parcel of the game, of playing any sport. It's the same in cricket. You have to be...
I mean, you put down a catch and people are going to be upset about it. But I mean, the standards that they have at Liverpool this year, man, they've taken 69 points from a possible 71 in the Premier League, dating back to last season.
Yeah. It's relentless.
It is absolutely abnormal to win at that rate. It's totally unprecedented, unheard of, unfounded. Can anybody stop them? Is anybody going to beat them this year?
No, I don't think so.
They've played half the games in the Premier League.
The only thing, if Van Dijk gets injured, or if Van Dijk and Salah, or Van Dijk and Firmino, or Van Dijk and Mane, but there's a combination of... I don't think Liverpool have ever had a combination of really key players.
But but they have. Actually.
Have they?
Yeah.
This season?
Well, I mean, they've been missing Joel Matip for most of the season.
Man, he's not one of the really key players.
If you look at how he did in the Champions League last year, man.
He's not one of the... He's not one of the 6 best, most important players in the team.
Okay, so Mo Salah's been playing on one ankle ever since Chowdhury put that tackle in on him. He looked pretty good last week for the first time. But his movement hasn't been the same this year. He's been playing through an injury.
That was a great tackle, wasn't it?
That was an awful tackle. I still have no idea how he wasn't sent off for that. He's been playing with a bad injury, obviously. Look, they have been short. They were missing the goalkeeper for a large portion at the start of the year.
Yeah, they were,
Look, I think so. A loss to Andy Robertson or Trent would be actually huge because it's so important to how they play, and maybe they haven't been tested that way. But if you take 3 or 4 huge players out of any team,
for example, what if Liverpool lost both fullbacks and they lost 2 forwards and Van Dijk at the same time?
So if they lost 3 of their starting back 4 and 2 of their forwards, You tell me a team in the Premier League that if they lose 3 of their back 4 and 2 forwards would be anywhere near as good as they normally are.
Yeah, none. I mean, that's what I'm saying. What if it's not possible? And that does happen. The amount of times that's happened to Arsenal over the years is insane. Yeah. Just with the injuries that seem to happen.
No, I know. But to be honest, Liverpool are missing 2 of their centre-backs. And they have been for most of the year in Lovren and Matip.
But my point is they haven't been missing the centre back.
Well,
and
Matip was number one.
No,
obviously Van Dijk was number one.
I would strongly argue that it doesn't necessarily matter which of those centre backs, and you could even drop the likes of Fabinho or Jordan Henderson back in.
Yeah.
As long as Van Dijk is playing and he's organising it, it's going to be the same, and you're going to be very resolute.
But if you look at the spine of that team from last year that finished, would have been Alisson in goals, Matip would have been starting centre back, and Fabinho would have been playing in the holding role.
Yeah.
So that's three of your spine.
But they weren't all injured at the same time.
For a period, there was a time, Matip's missed most of the season. I know that Alisson, maybe Alisson and Fabinho maybe only crossed over for a week or 2 weeks. There would have been a 2 week period where they were all missing. Look, we'll move on from Liverpool anyway, as much as I'd love to. Actually, the last thing I want to say, Naby Keita has come into that team and been absolutely fantastic. It's taken him this long to settle, and a lot of people were talking him up as a flop and someone that, wasn't at that level to play, and he was lost in the Premier League. But if anyone that's watched him play over the last month, this is the player that Liverpool fans have been waiting to see.
He was good in the Champions League, wasn't he?
Man, the way he dribbles and carries the ball. We've not had anyone since Coutinho that's been doing that at the club. And I think he's one of the best dribblers in the Premier League. Probably the best dribbler from central midfield, himself and Jack Grealish. Dribble the ball like no one else in the league. Yeah, keep an eye on it, guys. If you haven't been watching Naby Keita, he's very, very exciting. Chelsea, back-to-back home defeats.
Yeah.
To bottom tier sides.
Wasn't it Bournemouth first and then Southampton?
Sandwiched over an away win at Jose Mourinho's Spurs.
They also lost to West Ham at home in the last 6 weeks.
And they're still fourth in the table.
That's a bit mad. Well, the thing is that they had a very good run at the start after losing to United 4-0.
Yeah.
Aside from that, good. And I said at the time, was if they stop scoring goals, I don't think they're very good defensively. And I don't think they're very good defensively.
No, there's a lot of talk that they're going to sign Nathan Ake back in January. They have a buyback clause on him.
Yeah.
And he would come in and he'd do a job in that Chelsea.
If it was him and Rudiger, I think that's a better partnership.
Not that Zuma's a bad player, not that Tomori's a bad player, but having two kind of more experienced. I know Zuma's 25 now, man.
Yeah,
but it just gives him another senior option.
The thing about Zuma is he's been out on loan at Stoke, he's been out on loan at Everton. He's never been given, that arm around the shoulder. Maybe until this season at Chelsea, being told, right, you're the future of Chelsea's back four, and I don't think that he is now.
No,
I don't think he ever will be. I think that for sure.
But it does. I think it takes time to build a squad, and obviously there's so many new players in the team this year. And maybe you're saying, oh yeah, they're conceding a lot of goals. Maybe it isn't actually down to the two centre halves, or the goalkeeper isn't great either.
What's in front of them?
Kepa. I think how many, where the areas in the pitch that they're losing the ball, their game management. You know what I mean? As a team, they might be a bit naive. The fullbacks might get caught a little bit high sometimes. Someone might play a poor pass in the centre of midfield. Maybe it starts at the top. Someone's not pressing to shut down a diagonal ball. Things like this. It's just, it all hasn't quite come together yet. There are so many young players coming in and out of the team. Obviously, it's difficult to get a lot of consistency. Guys are struggling for confidence sometimes. They maybe don't have that belief. They haven't played a few hundred games in the Premier League. They haven't done all this time and time again. People are going to make small individual mistakes, and they're going to learn from them. But it'll take them a period of time to play at the top level.
Do you know what the strange thing is?
Tell me.
Is that since Kante has come back into the team, they've been worse. And that when he was out, and they were playing Kovacic and Jorginho.
Jorginho's been very good this year.
And he's been dropped now to make way for Kante to play with Kovacic. And, it's just an interesting thing to think about, is that certainly in regards to them being strong defensively, you think that the one person that you want in midfield is Kante.
You wonder again why they can't play a 4-3-3 with Kante at the base of that.
And then those two.
And those two on the
side. That would be the...
Yeah.
But the thing...
they're trying to include Mason Mount as a number 10.
They are, yeah. They're desperately trying to give him games.
But you know what Mason Mount needs at the minute?
What?
He needs to spell out of the team, man. Yeah. We spoke about this early on in the season where... I know his performances haven't been awful, and he does a lot for the team. He makes them tick, but in terms of numbers, in terms of output, goals and assists have fallen off a cliff.
Over
the last month and a half.
He set the bar really high, but after doing that, This is his first season. He's what, 19, 20? This is his first. He had 1 year on loan at Derby County in the Championship.
Yeah.
But it's his first full year in the Premier League, and it's not fair to put him in the spotlight week in, week out, especially at this time of year.
But I mean,
this is the time of year where you need.
If you want to give yourself that defensive stability, you've got to have a consistent midfield. And at the moment, I think everybody knows you've got to play with a midfield three. All the best teams play with a midfield three.
Yeah.
Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic. Then you've got 3 forward players to choose from, and if you're going to play Mason Mount, I think you've got to play him as a forward player.
On the left.
Or on the right. He's a talented footballer.
I think he's probably better on the left. He can cut in.
Have we ever seen him play on the right, though? I mean, he can pass the ball very well. He's two-footed. He's a good footballer.
Do you want someone a bit quicker there, like a Pulisic? Or...
I don't think you have to be that. Like, I mean, look at how Coutinho played on the left for Liverpool for years. If you're going to have somebody... Like, the role of a number 10 is non-existent anymore. And he's a number 10. So he's got to reinvent himself either as a central midfield player
or as a forward.
Or as a forward player. Because that kind of in-between isn't really there anymore. So I think, man, he could find himself playing as a striker at some stage. And maybe as a false 9 the way Firmino does. But he's got to figure out where he wants to play. And I think being a specialist number 10 is a tough job. Because you're relying on other people to do more work for the team. And the team has got to be really, really, really well coached if they're going to play with a number 10.
It's not a position that's in fashion anymore.
No, and if you're playing with a number 10, your wingers have got to defend. Because you've got to defend with at least 9 players.
Yeah.
You can only have 2 players at the top of the pitch, but normally only 1. And I don't know, I don't think he does enough defensive work.
Just the way that football's going, it doesn't really make... Like, I don't want Arsenal to play with a number 10. I want Arsenal to play a 4-3-3.
Yeah.
I want England to play a 4-3-3. It doesn't make sense for...
And look, obviously, Willian's in the form of his life on the right side.
I was just going to mention that.
Pulisic has to be starting on the left. And Tammy Abraham seems to be the man in possession of the number 9 jersey for now. So... I know Mason Mount has been absolutely fantastic, but he's either got to learn to play as part of a midfield 3, or he's got to be rotated in on the left or the right. And there's talk of Chelsea signing Jadon Sancho in January as well. And Timo Werner. So, I mean, competition is going to be huge at that club. And I just don't know where they're going to put all these players that they have.
You'd have to think like the likes of Callum Hudson-Odoi, Pedro.
Well, Pedro's on the way out. I think,
he is on the way out, but that's what I mean. Like, what's the future hold for Callum Hudson-Odoi?
Well, I think Bayern Munich were in for him massively last year. Yeah. They're also in for Leroy Sané still as well. So but they've got Serge Gnabry at the minute, and who have they got on the other side? Another Coman. Yeah. So they've got quality wingers as well, man. There's some good.
But you do need competition for places.
Of course you do. Yeah.
Except if you're Liverpool. If you're Liverpool, you just want the...
Well, we'll talk about maybe competition for places at Liverpool. There links with the likes of Kylian Mbappe coming into the team. We spoke a little bit about this off the show.
Yeah. I mean, I think how I see it is that Kylian Mbappe, as the player he is and wants to be, surely he knows that he can't spend his career at PSG.
Yeah.
That is just a futile thing to do.
Yeah.
Then he's going to be looking at the best leagues. Does he want to go and play for Barcelona, Real Madrid, or does he want to go to the Premier League?
Yeah.
Realistically, he's not going to go to Bayern Munich or Juventus, is he? It's going to be either two.
Well, he could.
Now, would you do that? Would you say, right, I'm going to go and play in the Bundesliga for my prime years. I'm going to play in Serie A for my prime years in 2020.
I think most people make the decision to go and play in Spain.
Yeah, they do.
The superstars go play for Real Madrid or for Barcelona.
Yeah, that's the decision. Or you go and play in the Premier League.
Normally for Manchester United, Chelsea, or City.
Yeah. Actually,
because they pay the big wages.
Yeah.
Liverpool aren't known as a team to play the big wages, and this is where I get hung up on Kylian Mbappe. He's on something like $300,000 a week.
No, I think it might be a bit more even.
Liverpool don't pay anyone more than I think 220 at the minute.
I think Van Dijk's on 250.
Yeah,
and he's the top earner.
And Mo Salah's just in behind that.
Yeah, and then Mane, and then Firmino's a bit lower.
I think Firmino's about 180.
Yeah,
possibly even 160.
I think they recently gave Mane a new deal, and it was on an increased.
Yeah, but they've never really been known to pay this kind of money for anybody, and he'd be coming in trying to play the same position as Mohamed Salah.
It would be either Salah or Firmino if they play Mbappe.
But again, the way well, look, Firmino can play a little bit deeper, and sometimes he does, and obviously it'll be a rotation thing as well. They've obviously just signed Minamino as well, who I know it's only for a small amount of money, but he looks like a good player, and he'll be the one to rotate in. The fact that they've signed a forward player already that covers all those positions would suggest to me that they're not actually about to sign Kylian Mbappe, because if they're about to sign Mbappe, they wouldn't sign someone else in the same position.
No, and I think that Klopp is actually, I would believe Klopp when he's saying that that's not what they're looking to do, but my thinking is that the Kylian Mbappe might actively want to join Liverpool.
Yeah.
That's the most attractive club in England at the moment.
Yeah.
Klopp's the most attractive manager to play
especially having just signed a new deal till 2024.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that if he wants to go,
you'd be absolutely mad not to take him.
You would. I mean, the money is going to be insane, both for wages and you're going to have to pay more than for Neymar.
Yeah.
But if he has put feelers out to his agent, that's what he wants to do. Then
and the thing about Liverpool is that they've earned an outrageous amount of cash over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and they're going to earn more
since they bought Van Dijk. They haven't spent any of it.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, the money is there for a transfer of that nature.
Of course it is. I think they're going to win the Premier League and the Champions League at the end of the season as well. And they'll have even more.
I mean, it looks like they're going to win the Premier League. Jurgen Klopp has never lost a two-legged tie in Europe. So, going on that record, they'll make the final.
Yeah.
And then his record in finals is hit and miss. So, they're probably on course to be finalists in the Champions League. And look, anything can happen in a Champions League final.
I just think Liverpool, I just think Liverpool are too strong for anyone at the moment.
Yeah,
but yeah, like on that Mbappe thing, I think it's if there's a chance to sign him, I think that it's not something that you can turn down.
Who else is linked to the big move to the Premier League? United are in for. Who are United? There is a big name linked with Man U.
They linked with Bruno Fernandes again. I don't think he's a huge name.
No, he's not a huge name. Was there a striker they were linked with?
Was there a striker they were linked with?
Haaland.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. I'm a huge fan of Erling Haaland.
Man, he looks good.
He looks class.
Do they need another young forward with bags of potential? Is that what they need?
To go with Greenwood, Rashford,
unproven in the Premier League. I know he's had
a
fantastic Champions League.
Ah man, I think that this kid is the next big thing. We've talked about it a lot. I think off air. Like I've told you how much I rate Haaland. I've never been as excited about a player as I have been about him in a long time. I just think he looks phenomenal.
Yeah, he looks good, doesn't he? Man, he's big, he's quick, he's left foot, right foot, head.
Oh man, I love a striker who can.
Man, he wants the ball, he chases people down, he's always looking to get involved. Yeah, no, he looks exciting.
I love a striker who can do like my favorite. For me, the best striker of all time, pure striker is the original Ronaldo. Of course, and he could do anything.
And he could
do absolutely anything.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying Haaland's like that, but he's.
But even the new Ronaldo could do everything as well.
Of course, yeah.
That jump.
Oh dear God, the recent
gravity defying.
Yeah. Absolutely mad.
Right, we'll claw back to the Premier League just a little bit. Crystal Palace beat West Ham 2-1 in a result that moves Palace back up to the top half of the table and leaves West Ham struggling just 1 point above the drop.
For me, the talking point of that game is Jordan Ayew's winner. Did you see it? It was filthy. I didn't know he was capable of that. The quick feet,
the turn,
and the deep. I'm like, don't get me wrong. It doesn't take a genius to set Roberto on the backside and move the ball over him. But to put himself in that position, and it was a nice finish. But to put himself in that position, was.
And he's done it all by himself.
He did, yeah, absolutely. He had no right to.
You'd expect Wilfred Zaha to do that kind of thing, but maybe not.
Yeah. It was phenomenal.
Huge. Palace, they did it again. They nick another late goal, and
they're very good at grinding out results.
Are they the new Stoke City? Is Roy Hodgson becoming a bit of a cult figure in London?
They are a bit. They have a certain way of playing. They don't really rotate their squads. They just play the same 11 every week.
They're obviously short on resources, but they
really make the best of the resources that they do have.
Yeah.
And he might they can still afford to play Christian Benteke, who's been awful for a few seasons, and get results with him in the team. It doesn't really matter that their striker's not scoring when they choose to play with him.
No.
And your man on penalties, Milivojevic, Like they have players in that team in Zaha and Townsend who are really good at winning penalties.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they're trying to dive, but they're
Actively
very
looking
tricky.
to win penalties.
Yeah,
And Liverpool did it last year where they actively looked to win penalties.
Yeah.
And United are doing it this year.
United are.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, but like it's not a bad strategy to it's just attacking your fullback or like cutting in at a sharp angle at pace and leaving the defender with, you have no time to think. Yeah. Do I have to bring this lad down, or should I? Or if you're thinking about it, you're going to bring him down.
Yeah, definitely. So. Well, look, talking about teams that maybe do the best with the little that they have. Burnley travel to Goodison Park.
I thought you were going to say Everton.
No. Burnley travel to Goodison Park for Ancelotti's first game in charge.
Yeah,
1-0 to Everton.
It was a scrappy game, but fair play. They put in. It was the same under Ferguson when he was in charge of those 2 games. They were putting balls into the box, and I think Everton are trying to play to their strengths, and they have forwards who are good in the air. And Calvert-Lewin scored a very good diving header.
And they've got physical midfielders as well that win it.
They do, man. I think that Marco Silva was setting them up in a completely wrong way to play this.
If you look at the results that Ferguson and Ancelotti have got since Marco Silva left the club, this was meant to be the trickiest period in Everton's season, where they had to play Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Leicester in the Cup. They didn't lose a single one of those games in 90 minutes. I know they went out to the Cup on penalties against Leicester. Yeah. But they haven't lost any of those games. And they've won again today against Burnley.
Yeah.
It really kind of highlights what a terrible job he was doing at the club.
He did an awful job. Like I said, he was the squad of players that he assembled was there to play kind of Sam Allardyce football.
Surely he can never get another Premier League job.
Oh, you'd be shocked. He's done nothing at 3 clubs. He got Hull relegated. He brought Watford down from a mid-table club towards the drop zone, and the same with Everton.
Yeah. No. It'd be interesting to see if Ancelotti can pull in a big name or two as well.
I'd say
in January. Everton normally like throwing a bit of money around as well, so that'll definitely be interesting. That leaves Everton now, 13th on 22 points, and it leaves Burnley sliding down to 12th. On 24, level with Arsenal. Burnley will be okay. Yeah, I think they will be. They've got enough in them.
They do have enough in them.
Sheffield United hosted Watford in a 1-1. Another point for Watford that could potentially be huge come the end of the season. The thing about Watford is that they haven't lost as many games as you'd think this year. How many games are we in now? 19 games in. The Watford have 13 points.
I think they've only won 2 games.
One game, is it?
They've won 1 or 2 games, yeah.
So I thought they'd won 1, which would mean 10 draws and a win from 19 games. Which would mean they've only lost 7. 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that.
I think that's what it is. They've only lost 8 out of 19 games.
Yeah.
But they just cannot win a football match. They can't keep that clean sheet, or they can't get that extra goal.
They took the lead yesterday.
They don't have a winning mentality.
No, they don't. It seems to be lost on them.
But look, Watford are a good team. They've been in the Premier League for a few years. They normally tend to do quite well. I think if they can get even a little bit of confidence and then get 1 or 2 wins under their belt, and once they remember what it's like to win a couple of games.
Listen, man, if they get back-to-back wins, they're effectively out of, and the team in 16th and 17th doesn't pick up points in those 2 games, then they're almost out of the drop zone.
I think they need to get a big player in January, get a boost.
Do you think they're going to splash money, or do you think they'll take the hit?
No, man. I think that they're going to have to spend some money. They're already on their 3rd manager of the season. They're investing. They know that they're in a fight for their lives this year, and they've got to get the checkbook out now to guarantee it, because the money you lose when you fall out of the Premier League, man, is massive. Anything that they spend now.
But you get parachute payments, man.
I know you get parachute payments, man, and if you go down and come back up, it actually works out better for you.
Yeah, it does.
But you don't want to take that risk in the Championship. Really don't.
No, you don't.
Championship is like the Royal Rumble. The 30 men go in and one comes out like...
It's a horrible place, man. It's real. It's real down there. The Premier League is a little bit kind of fancy pants. It's very fancy pants, but it's a little bit...
A lot of teams can get away with being quite average in the Premier League.
Yeah, they can.
You cannot get away with... You get relegated if you're average in the Championship, man.
You do. If you're not fighting.
Yeah. Every single week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that they will go out and they'll probably sign someone that maybe will get them a couple of goals, or even just a big name that might give the give the team a bit of a boost.
I don't think they need a name. I think that they need people
Someone with a bit of experience, maybe.
Maybe with a bit of experience, but I don't know where they need. They need someone who can score goals. Who's not
Troy Deeney.
Yeah, because he can't be relied on to.
And Jared Delafeu, man, as well.
He's not really a striker. Like
but he's a flair, luxury player that doesn't really seem to do a whole lot of.
Like I think that was his third goal of the season. Like they made a big mistake of signing Danny Welbeck on big wages, and he's injury prone, and he's never been a goal scorer anyway. So
no,
it's yeah. Like I think they could easily get relegated. I think it could easily happen. I don't think Nigel Pearson's a great manager either. And I think that they pride themselves to go down by hiring him, actually. Because he's experienced managing in the Championship.
Yeah. I don't... Look, we'll see. It's. I want to say it's so tight at the bottom, but it's not. It's very tight in the middle. I mean, Norwich have got 12 points from 19 games. They lost 1-0 to Aston Villa, Joe.
Yeah.
Is there any hope for them?
No, because they missed way too many chances. I'm just like I've never been a fan. Like being an Arsenal fan, we go through years of being a side that creates. There was one time we lost to Manchester United 3-1 at home, and we had like 35 shots on goal. I'm not a fan of teams that create loads of chances and don't score, and need loads of chances to score goals.
Yeah.
I don't like strikers who miss chances. Like put the ball in the back of the net.
Did Pookie play, do you know, against Villa? I know he broke his toe.
No, I don't think he did. Yeah. Don't hold me to that, but I don't think he did. I just watched the highlights, but I didn't see him involved at all.
Another one for Villa.
Yeah, but they're still in the drop zone. And this was kind of surprising.
That was a huge win for them when you think about it.
It's a 6 pointer, that game, isn't it?
Massive. Man, if that had gone the other way, they'd both be level on 15 points. Where...
but like the thing is, it feels like Villa are doing a lot better than they actually are. Because they're
the media love Aston Villa.
They do love Aston Villa, but
they love Villa.
I always kind of had a soft spot for Villa before they got relegated. I don't know why, but like I didn't mind them. I was sad to see them get relegated because they'd always been in the Premier League.
Look, they're former European champions. They were stalwart in the Premier League for a long time. They're a big name. It was sad to see them go, and especially because the Midlands is quite underrepresented in the Premier League. Obviously, Leicester are back there now. Villa are back there now, but. I mean, man, they're not great. They don't play especially good football. They rely on set pieces for most of their goals. And Conor Hourihane obviously got the winner for them. I said this on the last pod as well. He does not get anywhere near enough plaudits for the job he does at Aston Villa. More goals and more assists than any other player in the team. Yet all you hear about is Jack Grealish.
Well, like you said, he's a media darling, and as a result, you have to wonder if he leaves Aston Villa, will they still be media darlings?
No, man, he's a flashy young English white player.
He's pretty.
I said white, not white.
No, I know.
to clarify,
I know he said white. Yeah.
So, man, there's lots to be excited about for England fans watching him, demanding that he plays week in, week out for England, or not week in, week out, but game in, game out. I don't even think that he's the best young English number 10 coming through.
Well, Maddison, if you class him as a Maddison's better than Grealish, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
There's another one as well. Bournemouth guy.
David Brooks.
Brooks is very good.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he is. And what about Todd Cantwell for Norwich?
Man, I love Todd Cantwell.
I know you love Todd Cantwell. Yeah. He's not bad.
No, he's very good. So I don't know. I think Jack Grealish is overhyped. Aston Villa are overhyped. Without Conor Hourihane, I think they'd be bottom of the league. Because, honestly, I honestly think that way. He's their best player. He's involved in everything that they do. He doesn't even start some weeks, and they lose every time he doesn't play.
Why do they get so much praise then? And why do?
Because they've got, for all the reasons we just said, man. They've got a young English starlet that's flashy, playing in midfield for them, doing flashy things. Like they don't play with a game plan. Their game plan is to give the ball to Jack Grealish, let him skip around in the middle of the park, hopefully win a free kick that Conor Hourihane can put a ball into the box for.
Do you know they spent tons of money as well in the summer? Man,
they're rubbish. They honestly, they can go straight back down. I'm not interested in Aston Villa. Sorry if you're an Aston Villa fan, but Aston Villa get way too much credit for what they're doing right now. Manchester United, Joe, a team that doesn't get a whole lot of credit, but find themselves 1 point off fifth.
Yeah.
With
18 games played.
No, apologies. That should be Wolves that are 18 games
played.
Right. They beat Newcastle 4-1. High-flying Newcastle, who are in the top half of the table. They were behind.
They were on level points with Newcastle before the game as well.
They were behind at one stage. Matty Longstaff again.
Yeah.
Loves playing against United.
And do you know what? Newcastle, Dwight Gale missed a gilt-edged chance in the first 10 minutes or so. Blaze a left-footed effort over.
I mean, once United got going,
there was no stopping them. But what I'm saying is that Newcastle could have been 2-0 up after 20 minutes. It could have been, I think that's a different game than 1-0 up.
Well, we'll talk about Newcastle for a minute. Steve Bruce has done a very good job there.
There's no denying that, yeah. And I think they will stay up.
And
actually, I think I tipped them to go down at the start. I'm pretty sure I did because we're both. I think we might both have done because we were both thinking, how can Steve Bruce keep up this Newcastle side? But he's done. Yeah. He's done a very admirable job.
Really has. And the last couple of games they've been missing Alain Saint-Maximin as well, who kind of was their spark.
He's a very interesting player.
He's incredibly interesting. Yeah. He's a glorified Theo Walcott.
Which you haven't at Liverpool.
No. Well, actually, do you know what? Man, he's high energy. He makes people uncomfortable.
He does, if nothing else.
As a defender, marking him, man, you feel incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah, you do.
You probably end up playing everyone on the pitch on side because you're backing off the whole time, trying to make sure that there's not a whole lot of space for him to run into.
He's an athlete.
You can't play with the high line against Newcastle, which suits them because it means they can kick the long balls. Do you know what I mean? And look, I know I got stuck into Aston Villa a minute ago, and we're here praising Steve Bruce. Newcastle play the worst football in the Premier League. Without any question. I don't know how anyone can sit there and actually enjoy what they're doing.
But I think we talked about this before. If he keeps them up, then that is job done.
Oh, of course. That is
a serious achievement.
In terms of a job, he's doing a better job than Rafa Benitez was. But, man, it's hideous to watch. And they probably deserve to get absolutely whacked around by United. Anthony Martial was class.
Yeah.
But
when he wants it. And honestly, when's the last time that he did it in a really huge game? No disrespect to Newcastle. I know that in 1997 there was a bit of a rivalry between and United.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there was with Arsenal in 2004.
Yeah.
I know it's been a long time for Arsenal as well. But when's the last time? When he's a bit of a fair weather footballer.
A bit of a flat track bully.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he is.
But man, he on this day he looks like the
on this day he's class, and I would take him. I think that he would get into any squad.
Is there a reason there is a reason he doesn't make a French team?
Well, I think Deschamps is very
there are some politics, but if you look at he's playing as number 9 this year for Manchester United, which probably is his best position. But I mean, if United are going to sign Haaland, is Martial going to play?
Well, that's the thing. Another thing about Martial is that he's under 6 foot. And I'm not saying anything, but well, actually, I am. If I was a manager, I don't think that unless it was a striker with really specific characteristics like Aguero. Yeah, I want my striker to be able to.
Mo Salah plays as a central striker a lot of the time, and he's obviously quite small, but he's rapid.
Yeah,
Martial's quick, but he's not.
Liverpool don't play that way. So unless you're not going to play that way, then you don't.
If you're going to try put balls in behind and counter attack teams, I know what you're saying. Yeah, a good win for them.
But United counter-attack. That's their game plan.
This was only the second time this year that they've won a game having more possession than the other team. And they've actually won quite comfortably in the end. But I do think that once maybe United went ahead, especially when they got the third goal, the heads dropped for the Newcastle lads.
Yeah.
And they were able to run it. But, I mean, where do United sit now? 7th.
7th, yeah.
Possibly 8th if Wolves get any sort of result later on.
It's not great.
It's not great, but they're still within touching distance, man. I'm excited for the top 4 race.
The top 4 race is the
talking point of the season.
It is, yeah. Like Liverpool are winning the league. There's no 2 ways about it. And
Leicester and City are going to be 2 and 3. Well,
man, I don't think we should say that yet.
Well, hang on. Leicester are still 10 points clear of 5th.
Yeah, they've given themselves a good head start.
But and I would understand if the chasing pack all had kind of had their stuff together right now. If you were looking at Spurs or Chelsea or United and saying these guys have hit form.
Yeah.
But nobody's set in the world like they're all still falling over each other to drop out of it.
Can Jamie Vardy score 30 Premier League goals?
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
absolutely.
He's on 17.
Of course he can.
Halfway through.
Man, he's flying.
Do you think he'll score 30 or more?
Do you know what? I do. Provided he doesn't get hit by an injury. If he plays every game, man, if Jamie Vardy plays another 17 games, he'll score 13 goals.
Do you know what? I think that Vardy is better this year than he was under Ranieri. I think that he's
Yeah,
better
he is.
now. I think
He's more mature.
He's needing less chances to score
Because
and he's doing more with his all-round play.
Because he played at a lower level for a bit longer in his career, I think it's extended the life of his career.
Yeah,
a bit.
it has.
He wasn't playing high intensity games.
It's not a Wayne Rooney situation where he started at 16.
Peaking. He's not peaking at 29. He's peaking at 31 or 32, whatever he is.
Yeah.
So I think this is peak Vardy that we're seeing now. I don't think we'll ever see him play like this again. But I mean, if anyone's going to hit 30 goals this year, it's going to be him.
Why did he retire from England?
Because he wanted to focus on Leicester. He wanted to look after his body.
Would he still be doing this for Leicester?
He didn't want to warm the bench for Harry Kane for politics.
Of course. Man, he's a much better striker.
He's a much better striker than Harry Kane. Harry Kane's a great goal scorer, but Vardy's athleticism should put him...
Without doubt, Spurs fans.
Look,
let's get a poll going. Let's get a poll going.
Yeah, we will.
We'll get a poll going.
We'll get it done later. Yeah. But I mean, Harry Kane is a fantastic finisher. And look, he's maybe a bit better in the air. And if you're going to play maybe a slower build-up style, but the way England want to play, they want to play at pace, whether they're bringing in, Sancho and Rashford or Sterling, and you got this energy up top, and you want to press people.
I know.
There's no better number 9 than Jamie Vardy.
I have to say Harry Kane's done very well for England.
Well, he's done brilliantly, but most of the goals he scores are penalties. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. We'll move on. The last game this evening, Joe. Wolves City. How do you see that one going?
I think it might be a draw.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. Wolves have looked very good recently.
Wolves are very good against bigger teams, especially at Molineux.
Yeah.
And I think City might struggle to break them. They'll probably go and win 5-0 now, I've said that. But
probably.
But I think they might struggle to break them down.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that go. All right, man, that's... I'd love to see how the bookies have that one, because that would go either way. Wolves, of course, did them early on in the season 2-0 in the Etihad.
Yeah.
When was the last time a team did the double over City in the league?
It's a very good question, Rafe. I would say a good few years.
I know United beat them to delay them winning the league a couple of years ago. They beat them in the Etihad.
But I don't think they beat them at Old Trafford.
I'd be surprised if they did. That's the only team that would come to mind. I know Liverpool beat them 3 times a couple of years ago, but it wasn't the league. They didn't do the league double.
No, they didn't. They just beat them once because they lost like 5-0 in the other game.
In the opening game of the season, or the second game, whatever it was.
Red card.
Yeah. So that's I wonder when the last team was to do the league double over City. Right, we'll move ahead. I'll have a quick look at the fixtures for tomorrow and the day after.
It's mad that it's tomorrow, isn't it?
Tomorrow, I know that there's a game week finishing tonight with Wolves and City, and obviously Brighton host Bournemouth in the morning. Man, football this time of year.
It's great.
You love to see it.
Can't get enough of it. Football and beers and,
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, it's great.
Brighton host Bournemouth. Oh, good God, what an awful way to get us going.
Yeah,
Two teams really not playing for a whole lot. But Brighton, I say, aren't playing for a whole lot. They're 15th man, 2 points, 2 points off safety.
Bournemouth are 16th and 2. They both,
they're level, both level at 20 points. 15th versus 16th.
They're not out of it. If Southampton are ahead of them and Southampton is still in it, then those teams are in it.
Are either team going to go out and actually get a win there?
I don't think so.
Bournemouth haven't been in great form.
No, they've been very... Do you know what? I think Brighton could win.
Brighton are quite good at home.
Brighton might win. Maybe 2-1.
If either team are going to win, it's going to be Brighton, isn't it?
I'll go for 2-1 in that.
Newcastle host Everton. That is a very interesting game.
It is. I might go for a draw in that.
Yeah, do you know what? Newcastle is a bit of a fortress.
To go in your second game in charge 2 days after your first game in charge, after playing a very physical Burnley side, and have to go up to
Newcastle obviously want to bounce back, having just got whacked as well.
Yeah, but I could see that being a 0-0 or a 1-1.
Yeah,
I don't think Newcastle will be in a rush to be.
Good God, man! This Saturday lineup is awful.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Awful. Southampton host Crystal Palace in what's said to be the third straight 0-0 of tomorrow. Do you see any goals in that one, man?
I think Southampton might win.
Did we talk about Southampton's result? Yes, they beat Chelsea 2-0.
Yeah, we did. We very briefly glossed over it. We didn't touch much on Bournemouth Arsenal either.
Well, we'll talk about them in the preview. So let's have a quick talk about Southampton. They've clawed themselves out of the drop zone. They're up as high as 14th.
We focused only on Chelsea, man.
Yeah. So they're up to 14th.
They've done very well. Ralph Hasenhüttl has been given time and patience by the owners, and it's paying off.
It is.
And again, same as with Newcastle. For them to stay up this year, that'll be a success.
Yeah.
But they need to not be in this mess again next year, because this will be third if they're in this mess again next year, they're still in the Premier League. It'll be 3 or 4 seasons in a row, and there's only so many times. I mean, the amount of teams set out to themselves over the years in the past that have done this, flirting with relegation, not investing properly, not getting the right coaching team.
And look, I know it's very easy to say that Southampton's best players get taken straight away. They are obviously a massive selling club.
Yeah, but they don't have to always. They used to be good at being.
But they seem to either they always seem to have players that are either players that belong in the bottom half of the table or the Championship, or players that are too good for the club and get taken straight away. They don't seem to have enough good mid-table players
like Palace,
like Wolves,
yeah,
like Palace, like Burnley, Everton. You know, they've got lots of good mid-table sides, players that would probably be able to rotate in and out of Premier League sides that could do a job on their own with good players around them, but don't set the world like themselves. Like,
man, I think Danny Ings is a good mid-table striker.
Yeah, he is.
He is. And Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is a good mid-table central.
Redmond could warm the bench for a good team as well.
Yeah,
but and Ward-Prowse could probably warm a bench as well for a top side.
Yeah, like they need.
But there's so much more.
I don't think their defense is great, man. Although they did concede.
Their defense isn't great.
They didn't concede against Chelsea.
But that's because they have to put such an onus on defending because they don't have that quality there.
Yeah. No, really fair play to them, and like I thought they were dead and buried. So for them to come back and be 3 points clear of the drop zone, but it's such a precarious position to be in.
Man, they're so rubbish at home as well.
We have 19 games of football.
Do you know
left.
what? I think Palace are going to win that game.
Do you?
Southampton are just so poor at home. I think all of the results they've been getting are on the road this year.
I think Southampton are Palace are a better side, but I feel like Southampton might be able to.
I think if anyone's going to win that game, look, man. Yeah. I think Chelsea have been done a couple of times at home. Chelsea didn't show up against Southampton and they made them look a bit better than they are. There is a reason that Southampton are down and around there, and Palace have been a better team this year. I'd be surprised if they didn't win that. In another awful Saturday game, Watford host Villa.
Yeah, that is from
muck to muck.
The only good thing
here.
is that is a relegation 6-pointer.
It's huge.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a Watford win. I think Watford will have too much.
At home, man. If Watford don't win that game, they're going down. They're 5 points off Aston Villa. Watford sit 19, 5 points off.
It could be a draw. Watford could be too scared to lose that game.
They could well be. Man, I think most likely those first 4 games will all be draws, quite possibly 0-0s, 1-1s. They're all going to be cagey affairs. Anyone losing those games is going to put themselves under so much undue pressure.
Yeah.
So I'd be very surprised. Yeah, especially, man, there's no... Well, Villa could maybe... I think Watford are poor.
Yeah.
And they could well lose that game. I know Aston Villa I've had a pop at there, but they do have a couple of quality players, like we spoke about, Horahan, Grealish, and here's your man. It's been very good for them as well. The other midfielder.
Is it another Irish guy?
No, he's not Irish. He's
McGinn. John
McGinn.
Yeah.
Right. West Ham host.
No, you missed Norwich Spurs.
Norwich Spurs. Right. That actually, I think that might be a decent.
I think Norwich are going to win.
I don't.
Do you not?
No, I don't. I think that Spurs are going to win that game, but it'll probably be more entertaining than the other 4 combined.
No, I think Norwich. No, I can't. It doesn't fill me with confidence when I say that.
Man, Norwich have 12 points from 19 games. They don't have their first choice striker, the only person scoring goals for them. Cantwell is a good player, but I think that Spurs actually look in decent form. I know that they lost to Chelsea a couple of weeks ago, but Chelsea can do that on their day. I think that Spurs have done pretty much what they've been expected to do since Mourinho came in, and they'd be expected to win tomorrow, and they will.
Well, the only games they've lost have been against United and Chelsea, and there's a personal connection there.
Yeah, so I think that they'll win there, and they'll they will put a lot of pressure on Chelsea before Chelsea go and play Arsenal, but we'll get to that. So finally, West Ham do host Leicester.
Yeah,
in a game I'm looking forward to as well.
I would really like West Ham to win.
West Ham need a result, man. They really do, because if Aston Villa get anything from that game, West Ham could find themselves in the drop zone.
Yeah.
And surely that is it for Emmanuel Pellegrini.
I find it...
How is he still there?
I was just going to say that, yeah.
I feel like he was sacked months ago.
I did back him publicly in a video I made a couple of months ago, but I think How'd their last game go again? They lost to Palace. Jesus Christ! Yeah, if they lose to Leicester, which they probably
They
will
will, because Leicester want to bounce back, man. That's 2 defeats in a row for them.
Yeah.
No, Leicester will be bouncing back, and
Pellegrini will be bouncing out the door.
I think so. Yeah. I really do. I don't think he's going to get to manage a Premier League game in 2020. Oh no, he won't get the management
on New Year's Day. Yeah, no, he'll be gone before then if they lose.
Right, we move on.
Almost a Manchester derby.
Almost, but not quite.
Yeah.
A Yorkshire derby.
No, Lancashire derby.
Lancashire, apologies. Yeah. Burnley host Manchester United. Ooh.
I'll go for a Burnley win on that.
I'm going to go for a Burnley win as well.
And that's not so much of a fingers crossed, touch wood type.
Burnley at home. United are going to have a lot of the ball. Burnley are going to try to do them on the break. In what looks to be I don't see that game going any other way. Like we said, that's only the second time United have won, having had more of the ball, and they're able to do it at home against one of the least talented teams in the league.
Can they do it on a cold, rainy Saturday afternoon in Burnley?
No.
This is the thing.
No, I don't think that they can.
I don't think they'll be up for that.
No, I don't think they'll be up for it at all. And I fully expect Burnley to take 3 points in that game, especially bouncing back having lost to Everton. That'll definitely be one that Sean Dyche has his sights set on. Probably the game of the weekend, Joe. Chelsea travel to Arsenal.
Yeah, I'll go for an Arsenal win in that.
Will you, Joe?
Yeah. If we've been doing previews for the Bournemouth game, I would have said a draw, because I think that first game in charge away from home, coming off the back of a tough 0-0 away to Everton, a draw away to Bournemouth was the logical thing, and we should have won that game. But still, I'm gonna say Arsenal are going to beat Chelsea.
That would be huge.
I don't think Chelsea are that great. Arsenal beat Chelsea at home last season.
Chelsea on their day are very good. On their day. And they've been performing much better on. Well, they've been performing much better on the road this year than they have at home as well.
They have, and well, except for that game against United, and they.
Well, I mean that was so early on the season.
They've been performing much better than Arsenal. I genuinely think Arsenal will win. I think it'll be 2-0, 3-1, something like that. Some early goals.
Well, I think there'll be a lot of goals in this game. I think we could see a 4-3 in this game. I don't think that either team are especially good defensively. I think that Chelsea have been creating a lot of chances. I think Arsenal will look to play very attacking football. They know that they're not going to keep a clean sheet, and I think they're going to try and outscore Chelsea. I think that they've got to play Aubameyang through the middle.
Oh, Lacazette was so poor.
I don't think he can play in this game.
No, I don't think he's bringing anything to the team at the moment.
They've got to play one central striker. They've got to play 4-3-3.
Yeah.
They've got to try look to dominate the ball.
Do you know what? I think Arsenal will dominate the ball. I think playing that three of Torreira, Xhaka and Ozil and the way that they played against Bournemouth, I think that they will dominate the ball. And if we have Martinelli and Pepe at either side of Aubameyang, that's a pretty frightening front three in terms of pace for Chelsea's back four to deal with.
Who's going to play right back for Arsenal?
Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
I think that Pulisic is going to give him the run around though, man. I think could happen. I think that he's going to get caught out playing too high up the pitch. Arsenal are going to get a bit carried away. It'll be interesting to see how well they cope with Chelsea's transitions. Chelsea transition from defence to attack very quickly. They do it very well. They can play balls over the top. They can put crosses into the box. The thing that Tammy Abraham brings is his physicality as well as his pace, as well as his finishing. They're a bit like Liverpool in the way they can change their style in the game. You know what I mean? They can play long balls. They can pass through you. They can dribble through you. They can put crosses in. They can beat you out wide. They can attack on so many avenues. That I think that they will score goals, because the Arsenal defence has obviously been what they have been this year.
Yeah.
But I think that they're shaky at the back, and I think Arsenal will grab a few as well. Now, because I've said that, it'll probably be 0-0. But I can see there being goals, and maybe I'm going to say draw. I'm going to say 3-3 for that one, because I think it's a big game for either team to lose. If Chelsea lose that, it opens the door for Spurs. Oh, if you beat Chelsea tomorrow, or on Sunday, you open the door for Spurs to go fourth.
I don't care.
Well, I suppose it's Chelsea. They're both London rivals.
Yeah, Chelsea have to slip down that table. Arsenal have to play Spurs at White Hart Lane later on in the season.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to see building on what was a decent performance against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Playing in a positive, concentrated fashion and working hard. And I'd be disappointed with it. It's only a second game in charge, so if we play well and we only draw, I'm not going.
It is about the performance, really.
It
isn't
is.
it?
It's about this. The rest of the season is about.
Man, it'll take him 2 windows to get it right. He's got the January, obviously, and the summer, and I think he'll be judged on what happens next year.
Yeah, there's no pressure this season.
Well, obviously, he can't get the team relegated.
No, no, of course not. But I don't think that'll happen.
No, I don't.
I think from the owners, there's no pressure, and to be honest, what the Arsenal team need from the fans now is no pressure. Is to give Mikel Arteta and the players time.
I think enough of the Arsenal fans understand that.
There are some absolute wankers out there who are saying this is ridiculous.
That's the same with every.
We only had 2 shots on target against Bournemouth. It's like, shut the fuck up and allow the process
to work. Let him do
exactly. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's not fair.
No, it's not.
No,
it's not. Liverpool host Wolves. We spoke about Wolves' ability to take points off the top teams.
I go for a 3 or 4-0 win to Liverpool.
See, the thing that I think the biggest determining factor here is that Liverpool have an extra day's rest going into this game. Wolves are obviously playing this evening, whereas Liverpool played yesterday. And if there's one team that you don't want to be coming up against that have an extra day's rest on you, it's the most intense physically team in the Premier League. They're not going to have a second in Anfield. And I would be surprised if there was anything other than a Liverpool win.
I'd be surprised if it's anything other than a quite comfortable Liverpool win.
Yeah. But, man, if Wolves have the chance to take points off City and Liverpool over the next 3 days. And it's the kind of thing that they love to do.
It is.
And if they do, they could find themselves in the top 4.
But that's you love Wolves, man.
Man, they're one of the best teams in the Premier League.
They're a decent team to watch. They're very well set up.
They're great to watch. They're really well coached.
Yeah. They are. He's a good manager.
Yeah.
He's a good manager.
El Nuno.
Yeah.
The final game of the weekend sees Manchester City host Sheffield United. Another team that have enjoyed taking points off the big boys this year. They tend to be a little bit better at home. They had a surprise draw against Watford over the weekend. Man City win for you?
Yeah, I would say Man City win.
Now, Man City, of course, have to play again. They're the other team with 1 day's less rest. Their squad is probably big enough to rotate.
It is. Like I said, tonight, if I was a City fan, would be the one I'd be a bit more worried about.
Yeah.
I think they'll be fine against Sheffield United.
So, to conclude 2019, Joe, to conclude the decade,
we are
going to ask you a couple of questions. For you, who've been the best English team of the decade?
City.
I'm going to say Chelsea. They won everything this decade.
It's a good argument for Chelsea.
Well, they won 2 league trophies.
Yeah.
3.
No, they won it once under Ancelotti in 2010, right?
Yeah.
And once under Mourinho.
Yeah.
And once under Conte.
3.
Yeah.
3 league titles. 1 Champions League.
1 Europa League.
2. Did Benitez not win it as well? And last year?
Oh dear, they did, yeah.
2 Europa Leagues.
Yeah, a few FA Cups.
A couple
of FA Cups.
I think it was Chelsea's decade. What did City win? Obviously, they had the quadruple last year. How many League Cups? 3 leagues?
3 League Cups on the spin.
Or sorry, 3 leagues, was it?
Yeah. No, 2 leagues on the spin.
2 leagues, and then
they won the league 4 times. They won under Mancini, under Pellegrini, and twice under Pep now. And then they've won. They've won it domestically. It's just
what they've done in Europe, though.
Not. Yeah. No, I suppose when you're thinking about. I think maybe why I'm saying City is that
domestically City
in the last decade they were so poor, and I know that it's Arab oil money.
Yeah.
But Chelsea's is all money.
It's Russian money as well. I mean, the money comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
I would say
not that they were against Russian money and oil money.
Money comes from somewhere.
Russian money or oil money our way will be fine with that.
I'm gonna say Chelsea, and I'll understand why you said City.
It's one of the two, isn't it? Like
I'm asking you to pick one. Who's been your team of the decade? It's okay. That Manchester City team, they beat the 100 points.
Man,
they're Centurions.
That's what I'm saying is that I don't see a single Chelsea team in there who are better than that single City team. Like,
did the Chelsea team was that not the Chelsea team that conceded 18 goals all season or something?
No, that was in 2005 when Mourinho's Chelsea team conceded 15 goals, which is insane. But no, don't get me wrong, Chelsea. But I think them winning the Champions League was more about the personality of the likes of Didier Drogba than the club as a whole or anything
Yeah,
like that.
okay, so I'll understand.
Don't get
what
me
you're
wrong,
saying.
that was a great. I was actually quite happy for them, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
Who? So, are you going with City?
Yeah, I'll go
Okay.
with City. Yeah.
Who's been the player of the decade? The Premier League player of the decade for you?
That's the thing, because we're thinking just in recent. Well, no, you're going to say Chelsea. You're thinking a bit more broadly. If I was to say in the last
player that's
5
played
years,
the most games in the Premier League this decade is Jordan Henderson.
he's not the best.
I don't think
player
he's the
of
best player of the
no.
decade.
Um,
Obvious candidates would be Sergio Aguero,
De Bruyne, David Silva,
Cesar Azpilicueta, maybe.
maybe Eden Hazard.
Eden Hazard,
I'd
man.
say Eden Hazard.
Man, he's single-handedly carried that Chelsea team, didn't
Yeah. Do you know who else? I'd give a shout out to Jamie Vardy and Riyad Mahrez.
he? Harry Kane as well, man. He's carried that Spurs team.
Yeah, but to what?
Well, he's established them as a big club. They put Chelsea under pressure that year.
Good for him. Look where
They
I
got
got,
to a
look
European
where I got
Cup.
Pochettino.
Yeah, no, I know.
No, Spurs have done nothing in this decade.
Kane, Aguero, Hazard.
I don't see
David Silva.
Man, if we're talking about players of the decade or teams of the decade, they've gone on to do great things. Harry Kane has scored.
Eden
Personal
Hazard.
level, has to be Hazard. Yeah, for me.
Possibly Aguero.
Yeah, man, for that moment in 2012, or was it 13? No, it was 12. Yeah, that was quite something.
Yeah.
That last minute winner against QPR.
I'm going to say Aguero.
And if we had to choose a moment of the decade, I would choose that.
In the Premier League?
Yeah, that.
Well, of course.
That might be like the biggest moment in Premier League history.
Ooh.
Winning the league on the last
Yeah,
day
of
of the
course.
season.
You can look at a couple of other huge ones. Gerrard slipping for Demba Ba was a huge moment.
And that was in this decade as well.
Yeah, that was a massive moment.
Christ.
Yeah. Mane hitting the post against City last year, the 1 point, the 11 millimetres where the ball didn't cross the line in the Etihad last year.
Yeah, it was fairly big, yeah.
Well, it decided the league title. It just wasn't the last second.
I know they did, but it's not quite as it's not iconic like the
Wayne
Gerrard
Rooney
slip
against Manchester City, the bicycle kick.
Was it I would say that as
Vincent Kompany banging that winner against Leicester last year.
Yeah. It's been a good decade of football, man. I think that the Premier League in that time started out. I think the Premier League was great in the decade before, and then the kind of start and the middle period of this decade, it was pretty average.
Yeah.
And I think it's really come back in leaps and bounds.
Manager of the decade. Premier League manager of the decade.
Pep, man.
Yeah. I would say there's an argument for Jurgen Klopp as well.
But he hasn't won it yet.
No, but if you look at the job that they've done, who's done the best job this decade as a manager?
Pep.
By continuing City's tradition of winning the league, by keeping the team at the same level. Maybe boosting them by 5%.
He won 2 100-point titles pretty much back to back.
At the same time, Jurgen Klopp took over a team that were 8th in the Premier League and has now taken them to a point where they've won 69 out of 71 points. They've gone on to become a dominant force. They've been in 3 consecutive European finals. I think
that we could save the Klopp argument for next decade.
Quite possibly. Yeah. No, look, it's very hard to look past Pep. Could you say Jose Mourinho?
No,
I don't think so. Arsene Wenger?
Decade before, yes. This decade, no, not a chance.
What was your favourite moment of the decade? Not the best. What was your favourite moment? This decade.
Favourite footballing moment.
Favourite footballing moment of the decade.
I was very happy when Arsenal beat Hull in the FA Cup and when Arsenal beat Chelsea. The Aston Villa game, we won 4-0, so it was a bit of an anticlimax. But beating Hull to win the first trophy in 10 years was amazing. And beating Chelsea after Chelsea had won the league already and everyone was writing Arsenal off, that was a great moment. And I love the FA Cup, and I've always loved the FA Cup.
I know you have.
It's a great tournament. What about you?
I mean, it's obviously only
winning the Champions League.
Well, it's not even the winning the Champions League. If you look at moments, man, Trent Alexander-Arnold's quick free kick against Barcelona. Even the commentary of a man. Corner taking quickly,
for me, maybe Giroud's scorpion kick. That was quite something.
You just can't forget it. You just don't let it go. And something that just gets you off your seat for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was incredible. Right. Man,
we've been going for an hour and 20.
An hour and 20. It's a special 2019 roundup edition. Great to have you back on the pod, Joe.
Great to be back, right?
I'll be away next week. Will you cope without me?
We'll manage, yeah. We'll have at least one guest and
Fantastic.
maybe two.
Well, we're leaving it in your capable hands anyway. Don't bring the place down while I'm away. We'll see you in 2020.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Subscribe on YouTube.
And let's get these numbers up.
Do it. It's going to be a big year, guys. Thank you very much.